but clearly I don't have the kind of discipline that Nirmalya has. And as a disclaimer, I do have to say that Nirmalya was one of my professors many, many years ago.
Yeah.
So obviously I didn't learn much in his classes.
Yeah,
so,
because you've been collecting from books to, I have to write it down, books to addresses to watches, clocks, international artists like Mark Twain and Andy Warhol, Mark Alexander, Mona Hatoum. He's collected a wide range of, artists to Anish Kapoor and Rakib Shaw when they weren't really, they hadn't hit their high and weren't discovered by many, collectors internationally. So, I mean, is there, you've obviously sort of, diversified your collection and except for photography, and you may want to tell everyone why you've never, sort of...
Interested in photography? We have, as an investor, we've invested in a business that deals with photography. We have a venture together with Getty Images. So I have, photography that we generate in quite large numbers. So I figured that's probably not something worth focusing around, just given that. But otherwise, again, as I said, it starts off with an Indian context and where you stumble into new ideas or what have you, you kind of gravitate towards those.
Yeah, Sanjay, you may want to talk about your
Sure.
collection.
I don't have the discipline or the focus that Nirmalya has. I kind of go where my nose takes me. I mean, I'm a believer in new experiences, new ideas, new concepts, and I'm still young. I mean, I'm not sure that shows, but I've got a lot to discover, a lot to learn. So really, at this point, I don't have a singular vision. I think it'll come. I can feel it, I can smell it, I can taste it, but it's not here yet. So I live in hope, but I go where my nose takes me, really.
You've collected a wide range of photography from, many Indian as well as international artists, and you have some rare works by Jagdish and Subodh, photographs of these artists. So, would you want to tell us how you started collecting photography and, your journey?
Yeah, I mean, art 3-4 years ago was just too expensive. I didn't think it was worth spending all that money on paintings. So I started photography, collecting photography. And, I'm a geek. I mean, I worked at Microsoft for a long time. I love technology, love gadgets. So in a way, photography kind of speaks to the geek in me. It's technical. I mean, I actually can understand the technology. So, I appreciate it a little bit more because I know how hard it is. I mean, painting is just an abstract thing for me. I don't know how hard it is. What's the craft? What's the concept? But photography really speaks to the inner geek. And so, it became a more natural part of my collecting. And even today, I think 90% of what I get is photography.
So it's interesting. Ranvir, you?
Well, to Sanjay's inner geek and to Nirmalya's disciplined professor, if I had to have an image of myself, it would just be the magpie. Anything that excites me, stimulates me, and I don't really have a very, as I was saying a little earlier, established artist portfolio. I didn't start buying art because I wanted a particular name, and I still don't do that. I buy things that I think are beautiful, that I can live with, that I will enjoy as I get older, and that my family could enjoy. And if they don't, then sometimes I'm completely selfish and self-indulgent, but if I still like it, I know we have huge fights about a piece that I feel very strongly about. I'll go out, I'll make the effort and get it. The other thing is across also, like Sandeep said, several things. It's not limited to just contemporary painting. So photography, I collect Burmese lacquer, and I collect textiles. So anything that sort of excites me. So in that sense, I have to admit to being guilty of not being terribly disciplined. And while I think that there is a huge, positive in what Nirmalya said about his collection, that the sum of parts is worth more. Sometimes I think it's also dependent on the personality of the collector. Probably Nirmalya is a more disciplined person inside of him, while some of us aren't. And I think you have to go with your gut feeling on what you want around you and what you want to surround yourself with in your day-to-day living. Because part of the whole idea, and you don't start out also as a collector. I never started out as a collector. I still don't see myself as a collector. I just see myself as being very privileged and lucky that I have access to have these beautiful things, which I don't know what's going to happen after me. Maybe my children may not be interested in them, or I'll give them away, or I'll donate them, or I'll sell them at some point of time. But at this point, I think it's a very fulfilling thing to live with the things that I have, to sum it up.
What is the importance that you've placed on meeting an artist before buying a work of art? And have you ever changed your decision to not buy or buy a work of art after meeting an artist? In your case, both are dead, but ever since you started collecting.
Of course. I mean, if you don't meet the artist, how can you buy that artist? It's not possible. I mean, at some domain level, I have to have an interaction with that artist that speaks to me if I'm going to have 80 paintings of his in my house. And if I can't speak to him, then I'm not going to buy him.
And where did you speak to these two artists?
So these two artists I speak in my dreams. That's what an artist does. An artist is somebody who speaks to you when you sleep.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't get those dreams, but no one's speaking to me. And the only dreams I hear from artists is it's costing more. But anyway, no, I mean, for me, not a huge, although it's always interesting to meet the artist and have a meal or what have you, just to get to know the person, or something like that. Or when you partake, for example, well, if I give you the context, you can guess the artist. But I had one of the well-known artists in India call me up a month ago saying, "Hey, I heard there's this steel Bartan shop in Madras, and there was Ratna stores for those of you from Madras, and give me some sense of what this place is about," and blah blah blah. So anyway, we went on this mission to go into Ratna stores and get all kinds of imagery on the various things they have and so on and so forth. So in that sense, it's quite interesting and fun to be part of that exercise as he's conceptualizing a new work and so on and so forth. But again, you need to have a vibe with the artist and where you get along and so on and so forth. But to me, it's not a big part of the process. And as Nirmalya alluded to, some of these guys may not even be around. Or maybe in different geographies and so on and so forth, which becomes tricky.
You have a collection which most others will find very unusual, like collecting cockroaches, and maybe you want to elaborate. Hema Upadhyay.
No, I mean, it depends. I mean, I think...
what's your thought process behind collecting,
No, it's whatever seems intriguing, interesting. I think artists also, at the end of the day, have a commercial reality. And many an artist does churn out work that is commercially viable, right? While they may, have urges to push the boundary in other dimensions which may not be as commercially relevant. So I think those are the things that in many ways speak through, the artist's thinking and what's it about. So whether it's cockroaches or various other things. Sketchbooks is something that intrigued me a lot. An artist's sketchbook, because that's fine. The canvas is there is an outcome, but what was the process to get there? And as a buyer of artwork, for me, I would, if you gave me a sketchbook versus a canvas of artist X, I would go for the sketchbook, because I think it's a lot more interesting to get into the head of what that individual was thinking through. So I think it's more about going beyond what's the norm, and that's.
And have you enjoyed this process in terms of buying, collecting, and storing the works?
Yeah, I think. One of the challenges, I know we chatted a bit. Madras is tough for storage of artwork. The weather here is a problem. Works on paper, photography, Sanjay. I don't know how you're thinking through that, but over time, it is a challenge with some of the elements. You got to deal with it. There's a lot of things which are more fragile that I don't store here. You find a weather environment which is more suited. As you're beginning to get more professional storage facilities, restorers, I think the ecosystem is beginning to evolve. Right? I think all of that will continue to mature, but Madras is tough. Old canvases come here, you start getting the cracking and with the change in humidity, weather, air-conditioned rooms, all of these things.